Just say present and then spell your answer Satya.
Present, sir.
Applicable.
Present, sir.
I will following words. Arrofe. Hello. Arrofe. Yung ganda. Pabili niya ako. Yung kani. Hello. Kani. Hello. Kani. Hello. Yung ganda din. Pinagod ko. Kani. Hello. Pinagod ko. Hello. Maklaro na. Arufo. Elaine Rose. Ayuda.
Present, sir.
Sorry. Sa Arufo wala pa, no? Ayuda. Benitez, Princess Neon.
Present, sir.
Kabaho, Joy Neon. Wala si Kabaho. Cadiz, Maria Victoria. Wala po si Cadiz. Cardenio, Kent Jason.
Present, sir.
Duray, Erica, May. Duray. Entisa Magdalene.
Present, sir.
Yalarnido, AJ Promise Gift.
Present, sir.
Gloria Clarence. Gloria Clarence. Hipólito Abigail. Hipólito Abigail. Hipólito Abigail. Walang problem sa connection. Hipólito. Lemura Zaira Nicole. Lemura Kasi. Lugo Joanna.
Good afternoon, sir. Present, sir.
Montejo Olive Feliz.
Present, sir. Good afternoon.
Negro Serena.
Good afternoon, sir. Present po.
Only
Good afternoon, sir. Present.
David Christian George. Luis John.
Good afternoon, sir. Present, sir.
Sabillaga Terence John.
Present, sir.
Anabia Nicole Down.
Good afternoon, sir. Present.
Maria Flora Maria Feliz.
Good afternoon, sir. Present, sir.
Go back to Arofo. Elaine. Trabajo. Joy Mian.
Good afternoon, sir. Present, sir.
Cadiz Maria Victoria. Cadiz Maria Victoria. Duray. Erica May. Duray. Duray. Maria Cadiz is present. Duray. Any Duray. Tapos Miss Erica May Duray. Hipolito.
Afternoon, sir. Present, sir.
So wala pa si Miss Arofo and Miss Duray. Pero point number 23 naman yung daan nag-join. Na si Miss Arofo o Miss Duray. Okay, hello. Miss Arofo, Miss Duray. Maklaro lang ang voice na ko. Ito sa dili ka klaro. Or kamutanan pareho dili ka klaro sa voice. Yes, please. Miss Lupo. May big noise? May big noise pwede sa mga. Sabat? Hello. Akan niya, ang kanyang voice. Muffled yapon. Muffled yapon. Okay na ni? Nagkuhan man siya. How about this? Okay na. Thanks sa connection kanina. Okay. So, ang ato ang problem karon kay so Miss Duray is around, Miss Arofo. Oh. Miss Arofo and Miss Duray not yet around.
Good afternoon, sir. Duray, sir, present, sir.
Okay, Miss Duray is already here. Miss Arofo wala pa, no? See, so yesterday, can anyone give a recap of what we discussed yesterday on things that happened yesterday? Can anyone give a recap? Anyone who would like to give a recap? Okay. Naiduha ka buok nga nag raise of hand. We have Miss Zarina and then Miss Villacora. Sige. Who would like to go first? Gusto may first si Miss Zarina.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Okay, so based sa akong remember, sir, gahapon, yesterday you discussed about the biogeochemical cycle, where it is a process where chemical elements such as carbon and nitrogen are being recycled in order for the living organisms utilize those elements. And aside from that, sir, kay na-discuss sa an example niya, which is katong carbon cycle and sa nitrogen cycle, sir.
Yes. So we stop from there, no? Then I also ask you to kind of answer the labels of the cycles. Kasi ito wala naka-participate kahapon sa ato ang oral recitation. Tanan ba to? Ako ang lista kay sa ito wala naka-participate yesterday. Okay, so today we will continue on discussing the cycles for phosphorus and sulfur. And for the nitrogen, for example, yesterday we had several forms. Remember? Ito nga different forms of nitrogen in the cycle. Different state, I would say, or the forms of nitrogen in the whole nitrogen cycle. We have the inert gas, no? N2. What other forms of nitrogen were presented in the cycle, as you can remember? Anyone? Nicole, ammonium. Okay, then what else? What happened to ammonium when there is the how to say it in the cycle when the bacteria is involved and it is transformed into ammonia, and then of course with the involvement of nitrifying bacteria, it becomes nitrites, no? And then after that, it is further transformed into what form that is usable by plants? Nitrates. Yes, that's correct. From ito kay Nicole, kay Christian, o kay Yuko. Yes. But for the phosphorus, primarily, it is in the form of phosphate ions, no? So existing mainly as phosphate ions, unlike nitrogen, and phosphorus also has no atmospheric phase as compared to nitrogen, where it is in the form of inert gas when it is in the atmosphere. Wait for a while. Yes, Sir Alvin. What is that? Wala man na. Diba ang kana? Wala pang may klase sa summer. Nag-start ang work. Nag-start ang ipansol. O gapansol lang ko din kay mo anhiman ko. Kay vacation leave nila. Oo. Until 15. 13. Until 13 ba to? Until 14? 14. Kimurag 15 to nagsugot ang work. Vacation leave ba na tanan? Kailan pa na ako na-delete? Hindi na siguro eh. I-schedule is wala. Ano sa nalabot lang? 6. Sabi lang sa ito at least. Wala siguro uy. Vacation naman. I understood naman sa unang vacation. Sa ilaha gani, okay. Kanang wala lagi pawali mo bang iyahang kapag yung 18. Sir Christian, tigil ba? Huwag mo? So wala ako na most kuhan ka. Ha? Pag di takakuan na, nagsasabi ka. Thank you. Sorry for my DTR. Okay. So compared to the nitrogen cycle, then the phosphorus has no atmospheric phase, and so the biological role of phosphate is essential for nucleic acids and phospholipids, especially in the cell membranes. Nucleic acids, you can find that you can also find the phosphorus as part of it. Nucleic acids as part of the DNA, RNA, mga codes, mga molecules important for genetic coding. Then, for this case, the rocks usually stored in the rocks, and so the rocks are mainly the reservoir of phosphorus, and these rocks have their origins, of course, from the oceans. Then, the phosphate containing ocean sediments form primarily from the bodies of ocean organisms and from their excretions. Sources, as mentioned, ocean sediments also could come from volcanic ash, the aerosols, and the mineral dust. For this cycle as well, for the phosphorus, as part of the geological movement, the phosphate basically returns to land via tectonic uplift, extremely slow cycle. Kay tungod, the movement of the tectonic plates would take millions of years. So the movement of the phosphorus in the cycle may actually be slow in the natural state. So ocean residence time, phosphate can remain in the ocean for 20,000 to 100,000 years and becomes part of the crust, and the movement of the plate tectonics will take longer than that. So for this one, so in this image that you can see on screen, of course, volcanic eruption from volcanic ashes will release aerosols containing some phosphorus, and when these would somehow settle into the biosphere, or basically in the layer where you can find organisms as well. So it becomes part of the terrestrial webs, no? Then can be dissolved in the streams and lakes and can be leached out or flushed into the ocean and becomes part of the marine webs. And of course, some may be dissolved in the ocean water, no, in the oceans, and can be, you know, um, absorbed by the organisms in the oceans and excreted as well as part of the feces and some byproducts back to the ocean. So basically, that's why you can see the double arrows. There is an exchange of between the marine organisms and the ocean, and this is where the movement of the phosphorus as well. Then the phosphorus can be from the agricultural lands. Phosphorus now are used as fertilizers and can be flushed into the ocean through the rivers and other tributaries. Freshwater or the freshwater tributaries can be through the leaching to the underground water, or can be through the rivers until it reaches the ocean and becomes part of the ocean as well, dissolved in the water, and can be absorbed the marine organisms, and then somehow some of these phosphorus contents can be settled. It may settle in the ocean sediments. And of course, this arrow represents the movement of the land through tectonic uplifts. And it becomes part of these, part of the rocks. And then the rocks, when weathered, can become part of the soil as well. And then absorbed as well by the plants, or maybe, dissolve the streams and lakes, and so on and so forth. So that's how the phosphorus are, you know, moving from different reservoirs, and as well from the different media on Earth. So that's how we can actually describe the phosphorus cycle. Then, of course, both the natural and human influences. As mentioned, the genetic coding, phosphorus is very important. Naka-take na ba mo og organic chemistry? Ang inyong batch, wala pa no? Ay, tapos na. So it means that you are already familiar with the structure of the DNA, the nucleotides, for example, and no, and the structure of the nucleotides as part of the components of the DNA, and as well the RNAs, nucleotide and denucleotides. So obviously you have the phosphorus component, so it is very important as part um, of the DNA and RNA, and at the same time the phospholipids or phospholipids, no, structural component of the cells. So the natural cycle, you have several processes. You have withering, meaning releases of phosphate, releasing of the phosphate from the rocks into the soil and the water. And then you also have the assimilation, meaning taking up of absorbing the phosphorus by plants and aquatic producers. And then, if you recall, the food chain and the food web, so that's also where the movement of the phosphorus from one organism to the other to the trophic levels. And then you also have the composition.
sir.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm sorry. Ako ka-realize na na-disconnected na di Aiko for a while. Okay. So, sorry. I was talking, I didn't realize na wala the icon na. Sige, so, I think, yeah, kuan ba din, ang kaning previews, asa na ba to? Kung sa previews, nakuha naman to na ako, ano, explain that, yeah, so practically here, I talk about, the different processes in the phosphorus cycle. As part of the natural cycle, we have withering, meaning that and the rocks, are acted upon by several factors. Can be the wind, the water. So the rocks somehow would be become they would be broken down into smaller rocks, pebbles, and somehow to become soils. And in that process as well, the contents of phosphate in the rock somehow will be part of the soil in the water. And so the withering process would release phosphates now. It would release phosphates from the rocks into the soil and the water. And then, as mentioned, assimilation taken up by the plants and aquatic producers would enter the food webs or food chain food webs. But of course, in reality, when you go to the real world, there's no kanang no apparent actually nga observation nga isolated ang others different trophic levels that it will only form food chain in general food webs yun na siya, especially in communities in the different ecosystems. And then decomposition, return of phosphates to soil and water as well. decomposing living organisms will release the phosphate contents in parts of the body of that living organism or parts of the organism. And then leaching, no? Leaching somehow would move phosphates from land or terrestrial areas into the rivers and the lakes and ultimately to the oceans. And this one, if you notice, during the decomposition, I water involved, in the withering as well, I water involved, and even in the assimilation, there is somehow some water, like the taking up of water together with the phosphate, and well, of course, phosphate will be carried along with the water, and then the leaching, movement of the phosphates from the rocks, from the land area into the rivers, lakes, and oceans. So that is why at the very start I mentioned about um, the cycle of these four elements tightly linked with the cycle of the water or water cycle. And then the special role of the marine birds. Birds consume marine fishes when somehow in processing in the digestive system, it will excrete phosphorus-rich guano on the land. So it's phosphorus-rich, so that's the role of the birds. Even the bats, no, ang bats po, so guano valued at around $470 million per year as a natural fertilizer. And well, of course, because of that, because of its rich phosphorus content, and we know that phosphorus is highly valued or useful in the agricultural lands as part of the fertilizer. Now there is mining, and mining of these areas like the caves and some areas that contain a lot of guano, they will extract these phosphate rocks for fertilizers and for detergents as well. And one of the striking destructions actually ay kay kanang the destruction of some caves, destruction of some ecosystems that contain uh, high amount of guano because guano is very rich in phosphorus. And then of course the runoff on the sewage, excess phosphate leads to algal blooms. So basically there is that phenomenon that we call eutrophication, similar to the nitrogen as mentioned earlier as yesterday. So excessive deposition of phosphates in the water bodies will lead to eutrophication. And the process of eutrophication actually encourages the growth of a lot of algae, so we call it algal blooms. And then this process of the algal blooms will utilize a lot of oxygen and ultimately will deplete the oxygen in the water and it will result into fish kills. This process, this phenomenon is actually called eutrophication. Okay. Now, cause excessive nitrogen and phosphorus from the fertilizer runoff of the sewage may cause sa mga dead zones that you observe because of eutrophication. And process, of course, algal blooms block the sunlight and then the aquatic plants will die. So when they die, the process of decomposition will actually use a lot of oxygen. And so the process of composition will ultimately deplete the oxygen content of the water and will result into fish and shellfish. No? So mga matay sila and that's why munang the phenomenon of eutrophication, especially on the economically important or ecosystem or valuable ecosystems kay dapat ma-avoid ang decomposition and ma-avoid ang eutrophication. But because of the high content of nitrogen and phosphorus that somehow would end up in the aquatic ecosystems, so that would result into fish and shellfish death. So the dead zones, for example, oxygen depleted areas will reduce biodiversity, of course, and over 500 globally. Peak in Gulf of Mexico, for example, around 8,776 square miles ang iyahang area, then also affects the Chesapeake Bay in the US and other major water bodies. In the Philippines, we also observe this kind of problem. Manila Bay. Manila Bay kay tungod sa ano man na ay observations o say may reason that na ay eutrophications in Manila Bay. Anyone? Urbanization, no? The runoff. So basically the runoff from the households, runoff from other sources from the industries, and also you will all kung atok ka sa other areas sa Manila Bay, you will be seeing a lot of kanang aquaculture. Aquaculture will also produce a lot of nitrogen and a lot of phosphorus, and so depositing in the water body and then increasing the content and causing eutrophication. Also Laguna de Bay. The problem with the Laguna de Bay as well is because it's a big lake. So it's called de Bay, not dili siya Laguna de Bay, but wala ang de sa Laguna Bay, but it's actually Laguna de Bay is a big, it's the largest lake in the Philippines. No, given that it's a lake, so gamay ra kayo iyang outlet into the Manila Bay, and so it's an enclosed area where the flushing off of nutrients kay dili maayo. So both Manila de Bay and Manila Bay and Laguna de Bay experience eutrophication due to nutrient-rich runoff from, of course, agriculture, from the domestic wastewater, and also industrial discharges. And Metro Manila and those areas around the Laguna de Bay, there are a lot of industries, a lot of houses, because of the highly urbanized areas where both these water bodies, the Manila Bay and the Laguna de Bay, are really receiving high amount of nutrient-rich runoff and causing this phenomenon we call eutrophication. And when you have that, there are months of the year that algal blooms are really, very apparent. And so, as mentioned earlier in the previous slide, when you have algal bloom, that will somehow cover the sunlight, and at the same time, it will have kanang paspas na pagkamatay sa mga algae, and the decomposition will result into depletion of oxygen in the water. Then it will consequently lead to fish kills and the death of other aquatic organisms that require oxygen as well. And so fish kills have been reported particularly in the Laguna de Bay during the warm months. Okay, root causes: excessive use of the nitrogen and phosphorus-based fertilizers. At the same time, poor sewage treatment. Most often, I think it's not common in the Philippines. I do not know if we have large treatment facilities to remove nutrients first before discharging the water into into the water bodies. Like in Cebu, you have um, Butuanon River, and I think almost all of the rivers in Cebu, especially within Metro Cebu, kay highly polluted, no? And I say some experiences or cases of eutrophication as well. And at the same time, of course, the urban runoff. Then environmental impact, decline in fish populations, and of course, kinsay lugi pod, the local fisher folks where they depend on fishing in local water bodies. In Manila di ba daghan ang aquaculture sa dito, which actually contributed to the eutrophication, though some of the locals actually depend on fishing sa area, but because of eutrophication affected ilahang economic sources. So as part of the environmental impact, economic losses for local fisher folks. Then another one is deterioration of the water quality. And when you observe deterioration of the water quality, it consequently results to um, deterioration of the aquatic biodiversity. So here, the one is as a map, globally map. So you can see the colors of the areas where you can find dead zones. There is North America, then his my Europe na part, then in Asia, I think it is in Taiwan, Japan. No, it is in Japan, Korea. So these are the dead zones. This is New Zealand. So muna siya globally. But in muna ang larger scales, no? Dead zones of this large. So imagine, it becomes bigger. So in these areas, these are dead zones. There are many here. So the size of the dot correspond to this area. Na big ones na ang dead zones can be 10 kilometers, no, kilometers squared. That's a very huge area of dead zones. Okay, so ano siya ang map globally. Okay, now, any questions for the phosphorus cycle? Yes, Maria Victoria.
Good afternoon, sir. Wala na kumutan na itong gipakita na yung mga picture. Why are most of the dead zones up north, sir? Like, naging reason or coincidence lang siya nga naadira kasagaran?
Yeah. So these basically are countries that are highly industrialized. This one is the United States, but many of these industries are in this area and also the populations. So kaning strips, these are the areas that are highly populated, for example, the Northern America. And New York, I think this is New York, Virginia, going down to area there, Maryland, I think. And then here, Texas as well. So these are highly urbanized. And this part, California. I think one of the factors is the concentration of the population, and then the concentration of the industry. And this area actually, and other than that, the circulation of the water body of the ocean. So in this area especially, kanaganing mga inland, so wala kaayoy maayo nga water circulation. So mo concentrate siya sa isa ka area, dili siya gani kanang dilution effect. Dako kay factor help ang location of these areas for the dilution effect of the movement of the bodies of water, especially the oceans, di ba? I think naana siya katugan ng gitawag na murag kanang kind of conveyor belt. Movement of the warm and the cold will actually help in the mixing of the water. So in some areas dili siya makaabot, and so that some of the areas have high concentrations of nutrients because dili siya diluted or because of the mixing of the areas. But of course, these are a combination of population, location of industries, the movement of the water body circulation, where it helps flush out and dissolve, dilute the area. So this area, European, I think this is United Kingdom, Netherlands, Sweden, these are the parts. And kaninga areas din a combination also of the climate, high evaporation, low mixing of the water, especially on enclosed waters. And I think nadiri ang UAE na area. I'm not sure, yeah, UAE. So rich country, highly urbanized, rich country. When the country becomes rich, the consumption and the waste generation become high per capita. And this area here, these are Japan and South Korea, no? And this area here, I think this is Hong Kong and Macau. So those are the I believe the things that contributed to the presence of the dead zones in these areas: high urbanization, industrial location, and then also the lack of circulation of water that somehow would dilute the concentration of nutrients. question. Then we move to sulfur. Sulfur, biological role, of course, essential for the proteins, no part of the amino acid cysteine, and as well influencing the protein structure. So, muna yung role of sulfur. That's why sulfur is part of the very important elements. And the reservoir for sulfur through land, ocean, and atmosphere as well. And sulfur also has been part of the atmosphere through several processes. One is volcanic eruption. During the Mount Pinatubo eruption, sulfur contributed to the um, reduction of the global temperature by 0.5 centigrade. And it's due to the kinaiyahang katuganing pag-envelope sa ashes and blocking the sunlight. That process as well resulted into the lowering. So Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines actually contributed globally, and the ashes actually reached as far as the America and Europe. No, nakakagrabe to ang pag-spew sa ashes. Then, of course, atmospheric sulfur as SO2 enters the atmosphere via the decomposition of organic matter, volcanic and geothermal activity, and as well, the last one, of course, kanang si sunog sa mga gasoline, no? Or usually the gasoline and the charcoal. So, through combustion. Then, this is the cycle. This is the sulfur cycle represented by this image. Of course, we can start anywhere because it's a cycle. So wherever you start, that's part of the cycle. So let's just start with volcanic eruption. No, it releases the H2S and then transform into atmospheric sulfur SO2, and then of course there would have fallout. The SO2 will somehow settle in the terrestrial ecosystem and can be absorbed. And when the terrestrial organisms who die, they become part of the composition and goes back to H2S. However, the SO2 can be dissolved in water in the form of runoff, and it reaches the ocean and then absorbed by the marine organisms can be in the corals, can be in mangroves, it can be in the seagrasses, no? Then absorb, and when that absorb, become part of this system, the marine system, and also in the form of sulfates. Then during some processes as well in the ocean, converted into the pyrite, and then into sulfates in the soil, goes back to this form, or it can be part of the emissions, no? So industries, the burning and so on and so forth, burning of the fossil fuels with the vehicle, with the industry, and emitted into the atmosphere in the form of SO2 or atmospheric sulfur. Then sulfur cycle from the land, ocean, and the human influence, of course, naging ang contribution, modifying or influencing the sulfur cycle. Deposition on land through precipitation. Sometimes, this one is it became a big issue in like a decade ago or two, getting the acid rain. So when we emit sulfur or atmospheric sulfur, it is dissolved and combined with the water in the form of rain. So when you have H2SO4 or hydrogen sulfate dito sa atong ulan, it is deposited in the farms, no? Like for example, in the urban areas, movement of clouds. Then so when you have a high content of SO2, then carried by the clouds into the farm areas, and when it rains, the the rain will actually be a acid. So gitawag siya nga acid rain. And so the acid rain will not be good for the agricultural plants, no? Kind of products like mamatay man sila kay acid rain. So basically, that's affecting the productivity of the agricultural lands as well. Then another form of deposition is atmospheric fallout, no? Um, SO2 as dissolved water, not necessarily as part of the water, but as well um, can be acid rain as well. So rock withering, another process similar to nitrogen and the sulfur, it also releases sulfur into the soil. Then the geothermal vents as well, producing sulfur. Kana ganing, kisay nakaadto sa Camiguin. Di ba na sila ka ng hot spring? So the hot spring, sometimes ilang ginaingon nga baho kay sulfur or baho kaayo siya o kanang murag or baho siya og kanang balot ay itlog nga daot. So that's how sulfates or sulfide actually H2S kay sulfide. um, it's an implication that the hot spring actually comes from geothermal vents munang init siya, and at the same time it contains the sulfur. Yeah, yun siya may kuno siya sa health, but I do not know. But of course, sa Camiguin na sila hot spring na baho og sulfur, and that's coming from the geothermal vents. And I think Camiguin has an active volcano, I think. And then the soil sulfates, absorb the plant roots, enter into the terrestrial food webs. I think I do not have to explain the details because you're familiar with the the webs already, connecting between organisms in the form of trophics, and of course that's from producer to primary consumer, secondary consumer, and so on and so forth, and connected with each other to form the web. And so that process actually returns the hydrogen sulfide during the decomposition. And then ocean runoffs. You have the runoff from the land through the rivers, to the groundwater, or through the tributaries, or even to runoff during rainy season. Then you have the atmospheric fallout. Then you also have the hydrothermal vents, and of course, supports sulfur-based chemosynthetic systems, kaning hydrothermal vents. Then the human impact, fossil fuel combustion. But I think in the recent years, na yung technology nga giingon to um, kaning some coals na produced from mining are actually reduced of the amount of sulfur. Iligitawag nga, I think scrubbing process in the processing of the coal, they reduce the amount of SO2, but still, of course, it's not zero. So the fossil fuel combustion results into releases of high content of SO2. Then the SO2 will form with the water, that will form H2SO4, and there is acid deposition through acid rain. Okay. Now, and I think that's the last one. So, what we will do now, I will give you a task. A task, Jada, you know. I think I posted it in post pa na ako. I think it posted it in your ay wala. Ay naa. In our Google Classroom. So I will show this. Wait lang. So there is the task. So the task is Kuni, start presenting. I will show the, ay, wala man. 22. Tay basa, naay usa nga wala na enrolled sa Google Classroom because I think 22 naman sa na-assign. So there's one kasi wala sa Google Classroom to enroll in Google Classroom. I would like you please to enroll. So meaning wala by people. Na ay wala pa naka-enroll sa Google Classroom and must enroll. So to submit the task, we already have several tasks. Then the task, okay, I will give you that. I will show the task for this afternoon until Sunday. Muna yung task. So I'm giving, siguro I will, yeah. The assignment is for you to create a, to actually make a concept map on the soil plant, soil plant atmosphere interactions. So I will ask you to read an article, and this task is of course by group. So you follow the grouping in the laboratory. Ay, wala man tayo mo laboratory, no? So nasa yung ani. How do you have a grouping in the lab? You have? Sige, so you follow that grouping lang. And so I am assigning you an article. It's a beautiful article that is related to our discussions on climatic factors and also the cycle of the nutrients. So the title of the paper is Unraveling the Effect of Climate Change on the Soil, Plant, and Atmospheric Interactions, Critical Review. So it's a critical review of all the papers published in relation to the climate change and also the soil, plant, atmosphere interactions. And create a digital concept map. You can use Canva, or you can actually use whatever applications you can use to create a digital concept map illustrating the soil, plant, atmosphere system as discussed in the article. And then identify key variables, for example, the soil moisture, carbon dioxide, respiration, or perhaps evapotranspiration. And then the next is show how the climate change modifies these linkages. No, kaning linkages as represented. When you make your concept map, you will be using arrows to signify relationships between the variables to show the climate change, how the climate change modifies, and then naputol man eh. And then highlight any wala man. Wala nang ikuan, sorry kayo. So, kung ipakita ninyo ang paper also. Naman to ako. So this is basically na wala edits. So the task is for you to Identify the key variables, and then ano man eh, show how the climate modify these linkages, and also highlight any possible positive dapat ko ano siya, the feedbacks ni dapat. So we should talk about the feedbacks, any positive or negative feedbacks. So your output kay a concept map, of course, with short reflection about the concept map that you made. Just 150 to 200 words on the most vulnerable or responsive node. When you say nodes, those are the dili ni siya kuan. Nodes, the variables, the points represented. Okay. Yes. Yeah, so any questions on this assignment? Then I will show to you the note. No. So the node or the variables. Sige. So let me show to you the article. The article is this one. I already uploaded this as well. Makita ka ninyo? So this is the paper. So you can access that in the internet also. Just Google the title and or download the one that I actually attached. So this is the article. Then I'm giving you until how long? Would you like this to be individual or group? What's your preference ninyo? Individual or by group? Group lang? Sige, how many groups do you have in the class? How many members in the group? How many members in the group? 5 members to count. Pwede na itong, sige lang. 5 members. So I expect the group leader to manage the participation and make sure that everybody would contribute because na magud na ikaw kaya na mga jokes sa memes. Kasi mga jokes sa memes on group activities. Ang sa gania ang jokes for fun. Ang jokes. Wala, Jude. Ang joke. When it comes to group activities and the participation of members, roles and participation of members. Nado ko no'y uban kay financer. Kay noodles. Nagkanton niya. Si Jonathan kabalo lagi. Si Nico. So sa meme, no? Uban kay Sigan. But anyway, so the study leader is now responsible for making sure that each member participates because it's part of the teamwork. It's also developing your skills, no, in working as member of the team. So wala siyang usa sa mga apart from the fact that our laboratories, for example, have limited facilities, but I think the learning dynamics as well when you group the the students sa inyo nga, and you will also learn to develop your own social skills, interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and teamwork, no? The teamwork as well. And whoever is the team leader would definitely be growing, to grow jud sa pagka in dealing with your classmates, at the same time in managing the team as a whole. Do you change team group leaders? Wala. Nice po na siya, no, nga mag-rotation within the group. Every exercise you will have, like laboratory exercise, you will have a different team leader for that particular exercise. So everybody will have a chance to manage as well. So it depends on you though. Kung sa inyong mga ako na ay supposed to be asking yung sa laboratory activities. So far, asa naman mga activities karon sa laboratory? Because I need to align as well the lectures with the lab. Kung sa inyong mga na activities na nahuman? Wala mo group leader. So how do you manage? How do you manage the group activities kung wala mo nag-assign og group leader para somebody who will take charge? Mas mayuntag na internal niya gid yung asapot. Fair distribution of tasks, I agree. But sometimes when it becomes, kana sa group na mo mo take charge as somebody who will kind of a leader-ish, but feeling leader, kumbaga di feeling leader. It's very important for the cohesion of the team and who will take charge of, feeling leader mo tanan, dili ba ka na maging chaotic. Sige, anyway, so okay na ni siya na. You have you have this, this kuan lang siya kuan magyapon same magyapon sa tanan na even if it's a group output, every member should submit. Okay, should submit to the Turnitin to the Google Classroom submissions. Then I already assigned this one to the Google Classroom. Okay. Sige. Group activity, but submission to the Google Classroom is individual. All right. So, any other questions? Wala na. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Sunday. Karong Sunday. Okay, mag-abot na yung tanan yung mga activities kung i-delay pa. Okay. Concept map. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Amping.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir. Thank you, sir.
Kamay amping. Kamay amping jud mo.
Thanks, sir.